What are we saying, bulletproof ballers? Today we will be talking about ACL tears in football and how we are manufacturing the ACL tears in football. There is an epidemic of ACL tears, especially in women's football, but in male football as well. There's an epidemic of knee injuries. On top of that, 20% of all footballers retire because of knee pain. 20%, 1 in 5 retire because of knee pain, not because of old age, not because of this, because of knee pain. And we speak to footballers every single day who are coming back from 5 years of knee injuries, 4 years of knee injuries, and they're still playing on it and they have no idea how to fix it. And then I can literally see by what they're doing in their training what's going wrong, right? So, yeah, Khadim, say hi to the people.
Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back. Today, big topic: manufacturing ACL tears. It's no joke. Like we can literally, you might not know it yet, but that's the goal, obviously, of today's podcast to show you how your training, right, might be manufacturing your ACL tears, and the way you approach your training, the principles you use there, and maybe stuff you're missing out, really, right? Like we're gonna use some examples as well, like driving a car, whatever, all these kind of things there. Like there's good parallels to really make this make sense to you, and you will realize, oh yeah, actually this makes a lot of sense, and I can now see how I'm literally there in the lab, in the gym, manufacturing my own ACL tear, right? So
Manufacturing.
um, yeah, I don't know, like you know what I'm saying. So,
That's what I'm saying. So, what's going
yeah,
wrong? What's going wrong?
man. First thing I would say is like let's bring this example of actually the car that I mentioned, right? Like if you had a car that has a lot of power, let's take Ferrari for example, right? And then you're driving that car, right? You're absolutely rolling, freaking rolling like Ferrari is powerful, right? Powerful engine. Now, what happens if you then notice, oh, whilst you're driving, man, like I don't have any brakes here, or like the brakes I have, or the brakes of a bicycle. You know, you're screwed. Okay, like there's no way you're slowing that thing down,
Yeah.
right? And now when we look at ACL tears, and the way we train is the biggest focus of, and there's no discussion about that. Like people talk about acceleration, getting explosive, producing force all the time. That is really attractive. It's needed as well. But then we completely forget about that part of okay, actually slowing that machine down now, actually making sure cool we're able to slow that machine down, that force that we're producing there with our training. Okay, so that's what I'd say is the biggest thing, and that's where suddenly people are in that car, in that powerful car, and then they realize, oh, I have no brakes, or they don't realize it and crash. ACL tear happens, and people are wondering like, why did it happen? Right out of nowhere, no non-contact, just decelerating or trying to change direction. So that's the biggest thing I would say is missing today with the ACL tears we're manufacturing.
Yeah, this is my favorite topic. This is my favorite topic. I talk about this all day long. I absolutely smash this. So I want to go on something that you said there, which is explosiveness. So I don't know if you guys have seen, but we've been getting, not us in general, but like not us personally, but in general, like the word bulletproofing has gotten so much hate recently. It's like, oh, it's just like this term where they think that they're going to get some marketing thing or whatever. Well, no one has a problem with using the term explosiveness. Yet that is what's causing all of our injuries. I saw a video the other day of someone like reviewing someone's training. It was literally all hips. It was all explosiveness, and he was saying like, "Yeah, you can never be too explosive." I was like, no, I was about to comment, but I was like, nah, 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 Liam, just say your truth and let him say his truth and it'll be fine. But yes, you can be too explosive when your knee can't handle it. You can't decelerate. So if you look at acceleration versus deceleration, acceleration comes from when your hip extends, right? Your hip extends, you go forward. If you then look at deceleration or going backwards, your knee extends, right? So we're powering up the hips, powering up the hips, powering up the hips. Like you, whoever's listening to this, you'll probably relate to this. Probably be your training will probably be some sort of box squats, some sort of pogos or plyos, some sort of step up like triple jump and step up, that kind of stuff. Maybe a hip thrust. All this stuff is powering up our glutes and our hips and all of these areas which extend our hips. But then we completely miss our ankle and knee when our ankle and knee are literally the biggest amount of injuries in football, right? It's so silly. So the biggest problem is traditional training really just focuses on acceleration and explosiveness when we focus on bulletproofing. So yeah, it's still a marketing term. Like even bulletproof vests aren't bulletproof. Like if you shoot someone from a meter out with a bulletproof vest on, they're probably still going to get hurt, right? So no amount of like bulletproofing is going to make you bulletproof. If I jump off a skyscraper like the Empire State Building, I'm dying. Right, my knees aren't that bulletproof. I'm going to snap in half. But the emphasis, the focus is on being able to absorb forces. That's the difference between bulletproofing and explosiveness. And the reason that we need to focus on this is because there's more high intensity decelerations in a 90-minute football game than there is accelerations. And like the majority of knee injuries happen in deceleration.
Yeah.
So why are we just building acceleration, especially on people that have already had knee injuries? I speak to people who have had ACL tears and they continue to power up their hips. No knee flexion, no full range of motion, no lower legs, and you think you're not going to get another ACL tear. That's what we mean by manufacturing ACL tears. Okay? So, yeah, sorry, I got a bit heated.
No, I love it. Like, scream it from the crossbar and then jump down and show people, like, this is the level we got to get to, right?
Yeah.
Like, literally, like you said, okay, you can't jump down from a skyscraper, but if you're going to be able to jump down from a crossbar, you're relatively bulletproof compared to the other guy that literally hurts himself just decelerating on the pitch.
And I'm
right?
relatively bulletproof to the fact that I couldn't even walk 5 steps without extreme pain. And my knee snapping into place for a year straight. And now I can jump off crossbars and absorb that force, which I am never going to jump off a crossbar in a football game. So that means I can handle more force than I actually am going to get absorb in the game in one play.
Yeah. So to sum up what we've said so far, like, because this is a deep topic, right? And we're going to go deeper. We're going to tell you exactly what you should be starting, to focus on as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now we mentioned you're pounding at the hips. What do you do instead? We're going to get into that. But just to sum it up, you've now learned, okay, hips, the powerhouse of your body. It's amazing to have, but if you don't have the tires to navigate that power, right? Again, you have the Ferrari, but then you have tires of a bicycle. Again, you're not going to be able to navigate that car. Same thing happens if you're not working on your ankles and knees. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's
Messi, the best player of all time. What is he the best at? If you think about what he's the best at dribbling, he's the best at cutting, he's the best at decelerating, right? Maybe he has got good acceleration as well, for sure.
yeah,
But his VMOs are size of bowling balls. Yeah, maybe because he had growth hormone when he was a kid. Well, that's another conversation. But also because he can get into that knee over toe position and his VMOs actually handle the force, and he's doing that in the game and he's adapting to it. So his knees are actually really, really strong compared to someone that isn't, right?
yeah.
So yeah, that's what's going wrong, right? And we're not saying this is bad. Like, I love to power up my hips. I love to do some cleans. I love to do some snatches. I love to do some heavy squats, this kind of stuff. But if it's not built on a foundation of strong knees and strong ankles, you are creating injuries, right? So let's go into what should we do then.
Yeah.
So,
what should we do? There's a couple things. Yeah.
no,
Go on.
You go.
Okay. So what I was gonna say is, because obviously so far we talked about, okay, like we're powering up the hips.
So
now obviously, obviously now we got to go from the ground up and strengthen that. But when we talk about strengthening, there's also specific things that we want to strengthen preferentially, right? Because still a lot of people now probably think, okay, I need to strengthen my knee, so that's quads and hamstrings, and then what's there in my lower leg? Okay, calves, right? Just muscles. Okay, obviously we're going to strengthen these areas, right? And that is part of what we need to do. But then we also want to look at the connective tissue dominance. It's one of our pillars in Bulletproof Ballers, right? That's the way we approach our training, the joint dominance that we want to create within the knee, within the ankles. Okay. So now, Liam, you can feel free to go into that, because I think even some people that, might feel, okay, yeah, like I'm doing hamstring curls or I'm doing leg extensions, I'm strengthening, my knee or my quad muscles. It's still not the be all end all. Okay. And it's still not where we want to get to. So we really want to go deeper there.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to go in a different direction, but that's absolutely fine. I can talk about this as well, and then we'll go into my direction after.
Yeah, cool.
So basically, you're connected. So if you think about, this is my favorite example, I'm going to say it over and over so it gets in your guys' heads. Repetition is a language of the subconscious mind, so let's get that in there. If you look at kids, and they can jump off stuff that's 2 times their body height all day, but someone will look at me jumping off something that's 2 times my body height, not even 2 times my body height with the goal, and be like, oh, his knee's going to snap. But then we look at kids doing that all day, every day, and no one cares, right? But they don't have massive muscles. What do they have? Oh, strong connective tissue. They can absorb forces, right? So we want to build that. And there's two ways that force gets put on connective tissue because they're passive structures, right? So your muscle puts force on your connective tissue, and so that's an internal thing. So the stronger you get your quads, that quad is can then put force onto the tendon, onto the ligaments and stuff like that, and which is why we need to build the connective tissue at the same time as the muscle, because if we just focus on the muscle, they get too strong, and we put too much force on the connective tissue is going to break compared to what the muscle can handle, right? So then that's the internal force, and then you have external force, which the example is me jumping off a crossbar, right? Or you being pushed over, being snapped. It's external force, so it's not coming from your muscles. So that's two ways that your connective tissue can have force put onto it, right? And we want to be able to use exercises like, for example, the reverse step up, where the knee goes over the toe. It's directly targeting the ACL, the patellar tendon, the meniscus, the cartilage. This position is so like disadvantageous to the connective tissue because it puts stress on them. So then it has to adapt to that stress and get stronger, right? That was a lot of big words. Kadim's the man of being simple, so sum up.
Yeah, like basically what you just said there is really like it's the last things I like the most, because like with the step up, it's a really, really good example. And you said we're putting it into a disadvantaged position, or like in a weak position. Okay. Now, these are the positions that we're going to get into when playing, though.
Yeah,
Right. So we need to get strong there, and we can't like keep compensating with the hip. So something, yeah, like a polyquin step up is going to put that ACL on your peak tension, is going to get that compression on the meniscus, on the cartilage. And also puts a lot of pressure on your patella tendon, all areas that we know are getting injured. Okay, ACL tear, meniscus tear, cartilage damage, patella tendon damage. You had it all. You had all of these, right? And
yeah.
now you're smashing out reverse step ups with 110 kg on your back.
And step up's usually the one where you see the biggest change in people. Like, I couldn't do a step up flat ground at some points because like my knee was just grinding. And now I can do like 8-inch step ups with like 50% of my body weight. I can do 5-inch step ups with 110 kg on my back. I can do all of these things, and that's been the biggest change. But it doesn't necessarily mean it came from the step up. Like, it does as well, but it's in combination with, maybe if the step up really hurts, you get better at the deep squats, and then
Yeah,
eventually, because the cartilage or something has gotten thicker and stronger, then your step up is going to get better, right? But it's really focusing on building that inner joint strength, right? So we can handle the forces that are coming from the external things, such as our muscles, or forces where we're jumping down, right?
absolutely. Because those forces are going to be insanely high, right? Like there's going to be 5 to 10x to even more your body weight, right? So no amount of muscle is going to be able to handle that. But we know tendons, they're amazing at absorbing forces and then releasing it again, right? Ligaments as well. Like ligaments, people think they're just passive structures, but actually not, right? They have these mechanoreceptors as well. All these connective tissues, they can adapt, and we know with specific exercises they are going to be preferentially trained or getting into these weak positions where now they really have to adapt. Okay, and we don't avoid them. And that's a big focus there, because we know connective tissues, that's what allows the kids to be able to absorb all these forces. That's
Yeah,
what allows elite athletes as well to be able to absorb these forces at the same time as producing them. But we really want to be balanced there. Okay, so that's a connective tissue, and we know we can build that.
yeah. Cool. And then the next two topics I wanted to kind of blend in and go off now is then like balance and building from the ground up, right? And balance, I don't mean like balancing one leg, like chill out, but it's more like balance in our body, structural balance. So this is the thing that we're talking about when we're just building our hips. It's not like building hips are bad, but we need to build the body in balance. So just basic general things. There is 6 areas that our lower body has main functions of. So ankle flexion, ankle extension, knee extension, knee flexion, hip extension, hip flexion. Obviously, it does other things, stuff rotates, like adduction, whatever. Other things as well. But if we look at the joints in specific, those are the main functions of those joints, flexion and extension, right, in each of them. So if you look at your program now and you're not training all of those in some capacity, you are creating imbalance and you are manufacturing ACL tears, because I am seeing people do like 5 exercises in a session. 4 of them are hip extension and 1 of them is knee extension. So there's no knee flexion, there's no ankle flexion, there's no ankle extension. So that means there's no calves, there's no real VMO work, there's no real hamstring work. And then if you look at where the ACL attaches, it attaches from the back of the thigh bone to the front of the shin bone. And if you look at the hamstring coming across the knee joint in the back, it kind of attaches in a similar way. So Charles Poliquin, the best strength coach of all time, said knee flexion strength is like the second ACL. The hamstring does two things. Yeah, it extends the hips. So if you think, oh, I'm getting my hamstring strong just because I'm doing RDLs. No, you want to train your knee flexors as well, which the gastroc is kind of one as well, that calf muscle. But the hamstring crosses the knee joint and is the main knee flexor, right? So if we're not getting stuff in like hamstring curls, seated hamstring curls, Nordics, this kind of stuff, then we're literally manufacturing ACL tears. If we're getting super strong hips and then we're pushing our knee into that thing, and then we don't have enough strength to resist anterior tibia translation because that's where the force is going, your knee is going to have a rough time, right? Which is why the ACL tear then happens. So yeah, what have you got on that?
Yeah, like structural balance, insanely important. And it, as we said, like we have the hamstrings, the quads, right? Big muscles in the upper thigh, and then we have gastroc, as you said. We have the soleus as well, which is key. So that's the reason we're doing bent knee calf raises. It's not that the soleus is not getting worked when we're doing a straight leg calf raise, right? It's really that we want to preferentially get the soleus to work even more, and we need to load it up heavy, like, because it is a really, really strong muscle,
And
right?
that's the sport specific position that we're talking about as well.
Yeah.
Like you're going knee over toe so much. So if we restrict knee over toe, if we don't do any deep squats, if we don't do any ATG split squats, if we don't do any step ups, if we don't do any sleds, then our Achilles and our patella tendons are going to explode. Our knees are going to have it. Our Achilles tendon is going to have it because it's not getting that stretch as much as it would do in the game. So then it's not prepared for that, right?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And I like to go even lower, because like ankle sprains is, most footballers already experience it, right? Or just rolled their ankle at least, or like they've had some sort of ankle injury, right? That even if it's years ago, I still want you to think about that, because we know that once you had an ankle sprain, you're not only more likely to get another ankle sprain, right? But everything above as well, if you're not rehabbing that properly, is also going to be at a high risk of injury. And
Yeah.
that goes for ACL tears. There is now studies showing, okay, cool, there might actually be a correlation between ankle sprains and ACL tears.
Yeah.
Okay. And for me, that makes common sense. I'm just waiting for that to be, confirmed. And yeah, like people are taking ankle sprains more seriously now, and not just taping it up and being like, yeah, I can play, so it's all good. My ankle is fine again. Like,
Well, the more stable your ankle and the more mobile your ankle, the more stable and mobile your knee's going to be, right? If you can't put forces through your ankle, that's going to go up the chain. That's going to go up to the knee, right? So that's what we're talking about when we're saying like balance and building from the ground up, because the first thing that comes in contact with the ground is your foot. So we've got to train the feet, sleds, pushing through the ball of the foot, amazing, right? We can
yeah,
do other stuff, tib stretch, calf stretch,
yeah,
plantar fascia stretch, that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Get super strong feet. Then we look at flexion and extension of the ankle. If you're not just doing those, like I'm dumbfounded, right? Tib raises. If you look at deceleration, your heel strikes, boom, you're lowering it. That's literally a tib raise, right? No one can tell me it's not. Your calves, like people just leave the tibs and the calves to the end of the session if they do them at all, and then they don't train them like they train the other muscles. So like they start training them properly. Tibs, calves, ankle extension, ankle flexion. Then we move up to the knee. Full range of motion from the knee. Like you've been given full range of motion for a reason.
yeah,
Like use it, please. If you don't use it, you'll lose it. The synovial fluid inside your knee comes out the most when you go into deep knee bends. The cartilage gets stimulated most when you go into deep knee bends. The connective tissue inside the knee grows most when you go into deep knee bends, right? So this focus on, knee extension, but actual like deep range of motion stuff, because we're already doing all the high knee angles in football. Then knee flexion. So hamstring curls, Nordic curls, all that kind of stuff. We do want to get to elite standards in Nordic curls, because if you look at where the ACL tear happens, it's in that kind of 30, 40 degree angle of the knee where it's just a little bent and then decelerating and then tears, right? So the step up on the front of the knee, deep range of motion on the front of the knee, as well as knee flexion such as Nordic, amazing, right? And then we can go to the hips after that, but building from the ground up.
Yeah, absolutely. Like building from the ground up, like not leaving anything out, right? Because like, yeah, it might have happened for one person because of their ankle, for the other person because of this, but in the end, you don't want to play that game and be like, yeah, let me just try and do the minimum. No, you want to do the maximum when it comes to an ACL tear, like, and it's pretty easy as well. Like once you're doing it, it just becomes normal. Like we now can't think away the exercises or the programs that we're using for our clients. Like we literally can't think it away, right? It's just normal now.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think this is a beautiful thing if people start to understand this step by step. There's no rush, right? Like start implementing some tib raises, some calf raises. Actually ask yourself, cool, my knees, I want my knees to be healthy. So how do healthy knees work? Well, let's look at kids. They're able to get into deep knee bends all day long, jumping down, able to absorb these forces. So let's start using them like healthy knees, okay? And get back into balance. Like the example of the Ferrari is there for a reason as well. And we keep
yeah,
mentioning it because that's how you can kind of see, okay, cool, yeah, that makes sense. So it's really the same, if not even more important when it comes to your human body, right? Because a Ferrari, you can go to the mechanic or whatever, you get a crash,
you get
you
one more
spend
than
some money,
one.
but you only get one body, right? Like and ACL tears have ruined way too many football careers so far,
Yeah,
right?
and it's simple stuff that we can
Yeah,
sort out. It's not like I'm talking rocket science. I'm literally just saying balance your body because we're seeing people's programs and they've come off ACL tears, they've come off this other stuff, and it's making them have another one. Like I can literally see it. Like Khadim said, like, oh, we look at our client's program. If I get a program from someone, I can literally tell them to a certain extent, okay, like this, are you dealing with this? And they'll be like, yeah. I'll be like, well, it's a good guess. Obviously, not everyone will be. Some people survive it, but most of the time it is. We had a guy come to us, do training with us for a few months, and then he was feeling better than ever. And then he wanted to go do in-person stuff with his other people. I was like, look, you can, but you need to carry on doing our stuff because if you don't, like, you're gonna go back and you're gonna like become unbalanced. We wanted to do return sport stuff in person, which makes sense. It's absolutely fine. But then he comes back to me a month later. He's like, man, like my tendons hurting. Like I'm so stiff, this and that. I go, okay, show me your program. And I literally look at his program. I was like, I could have told you that before you told me because of what you're doing in your program. You're doing all this muscle strengthening stuff. You have no deep range of motion. You have no mobility. You have no lower leg stuff. There's no wonder you feel like that. And these are like some of the best videos in the country, right? And they're missing simple stuff. I'm looking at pro footballers programs, and they've come back from ACL tears, and they're not doing any knee flexion. They're not doing any lower leg stuff. They're just powering up their hips. And if you keep powering up your hips, like I don't understand where this thing of like I understand to a certain extent like the powerlifting community, like West Side Barbell. Okay, like we build the hips that creates power, this and that, but this concept of bulletproofing versus explosiveness is like the most important. Deceleration versus acceleration. Like we really need to. Okay, you're not going to become bulletproof. I'm not going to promise you that you're going to get shot in the knee and your knee is going to be fine. But I am going to promise you that if you do the stuff that we are saying, your knees are going to be so much more stronger and so much more able to withstand the force that you're putting into them. Okay.
yeah,
And there was a quote that I got told by someone that said, that Trent said it, and he said the best ability is availability. And if you look at Ronaldo's, if you look at Salah's, if you look at all of these people, the reason that they're getting better with age because they're able to play their sport. If you can play your sport over and over and over again, you're going to get better. So how do we do that? We make sure that we are healthy. Okay? We don't make sure that we're explosive. If we make sure that we're explosive and we can't handle that force, then yeah, okay, it may feel really good in a short period of time. We get loads of gains and we're feeling rolling, like I'm sprinting past these people, it's amazing, right? But when that one thing happens where you do get that injury, you then have 2 years out. Okay? And the person that's been able to stay in but hasn't built the explosiveness, but has built that knee capacity, he's able to then play for 2 more years than you. So where's his career going to be versus yours? Okay? So again, we're not saying don't build explosiveness like I'm getting freaking
yeah,
rapid. We're rolling. But bulletproofing needs to come first.
yeah,
The ability to be healthy needs to come first.
yeah. 100% agreed. And it's like as you said, we're not holding you back for like actually your body is probably holding you back. Even your explosiveness
Yeah.
if it knows it's weak, right? It can't handle the force, right? It's actually not going to let you put out all that force, right? And then if you do, sometimes you get injured, sometimes you can't, but your body is smarter than you think as well. So by getting more protected, by getting better in deceleration, by getting less unbalanced as well, right? Imagine jumping off your strong leg, have a lot of power there, but
Yeah.
then you know you can't land on the other leg because it's weak. You never use it. You're also not going to be able to put as much force as the strong leg probably could, right? Because again, your body knows, and that's why like this is not just about staying safe. It's going to increase your performance as well, especially looking at the long term. Okay, right, making sure we boom step up the explosiveness, step up the deceleration ability, boom, at the same time build, and always make sure we stay in balance. There's always going to be like a weak link or something that we need to bring up, or something that is currently bothering you a little bit, so we need to focus on that a little bit more. But that's how we continue going, right? And that's how we keep you in the game for long term.
Yeah, exactly. And I made like you just mentioned something there, and I made a reel the other day, and I just want to say the start of it because we're talking about like structural balance and this like really really important thing. I listed out all of the things that cause ligament tears in my head. So I was like, imbalanced sides, leg to leg, causes ligament tears. Imbalanced quads to hamstrings causes ligament tears. Lack of ankle mobility causes ligament tears. Lack of direct knee ability causes ligament tears. Lack of knee flexion strength causes knee ligament tears. Lack of deep deep knee bends causes ligament tears. The fact that we're building hip power over knee power causes ligament tears, right?
Yep.
So if we listen to that, we just have to deconstruct that and work the other way, right? So we get mobile ankles, we balance our side to side legs, we balance our quads and hamstrings, we build our knee ability, we build our knee flexion ability, right? And if you do these things, I promise you that you will have a longer career. I
Yeah,
promise you.
yeah, beautiful things are going to happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we've seen it, right? Like it's not just like it's your personal experience. I still believe like your personal experience is still the strongest things, and is what allows us to say as well. Look, we've gone through this ourselves. We know how it feels to know. Like I used to do half squats and whatever, or like even skip leg day because I thought I'm a footballer, and I thought it was normal. I thought I was doing nothing wrong, but then I was wondering, okay, like why is my knee still keep bothering me over and over? And then I fall to the ground. It swells up. Like what are we saying? Like why is my knee so weak? This is it, right? This is what we would have needed 5, 10 years ago. Even right, it's never too early to
Yeah.
start training like that, and keep that balance that you had as a kid. If you've already lost it, regain it. If you still have some sort of some little bit, keep it going, right? Keep at it. Like you know how you felt as a kid. You want to be feeling like that for as long as possible. Enjoy the game. Like as a kid, you don't know what soreness is. Like you're just freaking rolling. It's a beautiful thing, and that's what we're trying to get back here. And yeah, it's ACL tear topic today, but this really goes for a lot of other injuries as
Most
well.
knee injuries,
Right.
most we talk
Most knee injuries.
ankle injuries as
Yeah,
well. It's just like deceleration versus acceleration is really what it came down to in the end.
yeah, 100%.
Amazing.
Yeah. Anything else or
Nah, we're
yeah?
making ballers bulletproof again.
Let's freaking make ballers bulletproof again. Like every single baller needs to know this.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's freaking
Appreciate
go.
everyone watching.
Yeah. See you next week.